Collaboration is such a buzzword, but how exactly should you approach it? In this video, I will guide you on how to effectively collaborate with an engineering team. I'm May, Senior Designer at Google. If you find mastering collaboration difficult, know that you're not alone, especially when working with an engineering team. Effective collaboration can determine the success or failure of a great product. It took me many years to develop a clear perspective on how to make collaboration with engineering effective and enjoyable. I encourage you to find your own style while having a basic understanding of a standard collaboration practices. Why should you pay attention to improve this skill? For me, it's about building a great product together, fostering strong relationships along the way, and sharing the joy of achieving a product we can be proud of. Personally, I highly value the opinions of my engineering partners. I make an effort to understand their technical constraints and work together to find the best solution within our timeline. It's important to avoid a mindset of disregarding their input or taking it personally when they have a different opinion. Okay, once the mindset and energy are in the right place, let's delve into the details. The product building process is quite mature, and most teams follow the same process. The first step is always the kickoff, followed by initial design and feedback. This loop can be as many rounds as needed. The third step is the final design and feedback. And the final step involves handoff, implementation, and QA testing. When I refer to engineers, I'm not only talking about the front-end engineers, but also the back-end engineers who are familiar with the system data routing and the data scientists who can provide valuable opinions on data sourcing. In a recent video, I delved into the kickoff process. Check it out if you haven't. When you start a project, ensure your engineers are on board from the get-go. Without their support, your brilliant design might end up collecting dust on a shelf. The initial design phase is when you start thinking about design strategy and sketching out your initial ideas. Engineers play a critical role here, as they often have deep understanding of the complex workflows. It's important to include them in the design workshop to align on the problem and final design strategy. Make sure to communicate the design timeline upfront with the engineers so they can roughly plan their roadmap accordingly. However, there is a caveat. If the project scope is relatively small and you can rely on past research to quickly move forward, having frequent reviews with the engineer team is beneficial. The first challenge arises when the scope is large. In such cases, it's crucial to communicate your progress to the engineers, even if there's no user interfaces yet. You might encounter this case. Engineer will say, "Why do you need to do research? That would take so long." It's not uncommon to hear designers say that their engineers do not support research, and I have personally experienced this as well. I discovered that the reason behind this lack of support is often a lack of understanding of the value of research. Once I started involving engineers in research question drafting and interview sessions, they witnessed the value firsthand and became excited to hear my research findings. Why? Because they also want to help users and understand their problems, so they can contribute potential technical solutions. Therefore, do not hesitate to share who you talked to, what they said, and your findings with engineers. You can even invite them to your interview sessions so they can hear directly from the users. The second challenge arises when you face bigger scope project. Is always to design the ideal workflow initially. Aim high and work with the engineers to prioritize and negotiate what should be included in phase 1 versus phase 2. A common mistake is to consider technical constraints way too early in the process, resulting in a solution that is not user-friendly. Encourage your engineers to take on stretched challenges, as it can be exciting for them as well. While you explore the different solutions, your engineers can start researching the backend system, designing the architecture, and roughly estimating the workload. After reviewing your design multiple times with your engineers, you are now ready to deliver the final high-fidelity design. The development cycle will proceed in phases. The first phase will focus on providing a simplified experience, prioritizing the must-haves over the nice-to-haves. It would be ideal to map out the design by phases so that engineers can visualize the potential future by developing the first phase. Build the UI in a scalable way to facilitate later deployment. Additionally, remember to address edge cases by designing high-fidelity solutions for error messages, new states, and any other specific edge cases related to your product. It is very important not to accumulate edge cases at this stage, as more may be discovered during the implementation stage you have to do. The handover process requires you to provide detailed explanations of your design to the engineers to ensure they can implement it within the specific timeline. Make sure that the front-end engineers know where to find your design specs, either by using Figma or by providing them with a redlined version of the design. Double-check if there are any final technical constraints. Once the engineers start building, the Phase 1 design should not be edited again. It's important to avoid making design changes after the Phase 1 lockdown. If any changes need to be made, they should be included in the Phase 2 design. While the engineers are building, encourage them to present their progress and make yourself available for any questions they might have about the details. If the UI is in a good state, you can request a visual QA session with the engineers and file bugs if the code quality does not meet the design standards. Sometimes, engineers may struggle to replicate certain aspects of the design exactly as intended. In such cases, you can troubleshoot with them to identify why it looks different. Your trained eyes can be helpful in determining visual differences, such as incorrect padding. Or you can use the browser inspect tool to be very specific with them. Mastering collaboration with your engineers is totally worth it. It will help you to increase your confidence while building product. It's definitely not mandatory, but super beneficial to host a retrospective session with engineers. During this session, you can interview them about your collaboration, identifying areas that need improvement, and acknowledging what has been working well. By doing so, you can learn how to better align with your engineering team, build trust, and increase efficiency. Thank you for watching. Hopefully, I'm not overwhelming you with all the details. I'm sure you can all master your collaboration with engineers. Just remember, it's not easy. Let's move one step at a time. If you have any questions, please leave comments below. See you next time. Bye!